On this episode of Scenic Stops and Stories,
our goal is to be the repository of all things related to Cedar Point.
Firefly Night 101. It is a free event downtown Bowling Green. Everything's down here. We've got food trucks, we've got vendors, we've got kids activities.
We're here at the Black Swamp Arts Festival in Bowling Green, Ohio.
We have 3 stages playing music all day.
but first,
We are at the Merry-Go-Round Museum in Sandusky, Ohio. Most people in the United States, when they think of carousels, think of horses. We are at the Merry-Go-Round Museum in Sandusky, Ohio, and we are dedicated to the preservation and history of carousels from around the world, not just the United States. This building, when it was completed in 1927, was technically the federal building. The floor you look at with all the exhibit pieces on it was United States Post Office. On exhibit here, we currently have probably about 150 historic pieces to show off the skillsmanship of craftsmen from generations and decades ago. Most of the pieces in here are 100+ years old. Some of them have been restored, some of them are still in their original factory paint. There are all kinds of pieces that we move in the museum throughout the years, so that even though it's the same piece that you saw, you may see it in a different angle and a different light. So you see something different on it. You can come in here 5 days in a row and see stuff different in here than you saw and go, why? It was in here yesterday for 4 hours. How did I not notice? I do it all the time and they laugh at me for it, so. That is a working historic 1939 Allen Herschel machine. It was built in North Tonawanda, New York, and traveled a circuit primarily through southern Illinois and Indiana. Like most carousel owner-operators, they discovered if you sell it piece by piece, you get more money for it than if you sell it as a whole. So when we bought it, we were only able to buy the machine. All the animals on it are new to that machine, which works out great for us here at the museum. So we're able to put a variety of carvers on it and show off the different styles all on one machine. We currently have 21 historic pieces on it and 9 that were actually done here at the museum. In this museum, there are some phenomenal pieces to check out. We have some Lily Bell style pieces from C.W. Parker. The lilies on the back sides of the saddles actually have kind of look like bells with the way they're carved. We have a Marcus Illians who thought it would be a great idea, since carousel animals have hollow centers, to put a light inside his piece to light up the gemstones from within. We have a wide variety of deer or elk with actual antlers on them that show that, composition of different materials sometimes work best to get the overall look you're going for. And then most people in the United States, when they think of carousels, think of horses. We also have a fantastic collection of menagerie animals, or anything that's not a horse that also came off of historic carousel machines. The oldest piece we have in here at the moment is a Charles Dare carving that was completed sometime between 1860 and 1875, which means at its youngest it is currently 150 years old. It is still an original paint, and it's more of a unique piece than most of the pieces in here. The difference between a carousel and a merry-go-round is technically just the word. The word carousel is the original word. It is a rough translation between the words carousello and garisello, and those two words roughly translate to mean little war or little battle. And merry-go-round is a more lackadaisical, fun-loving term than war. From my understanding, it was an original adult amusement park ride, so when they went in and first were being operated, they were being run at about 20 miles an hour. They have since slowed them down and made them more kid-friendly. Most are operated between 2 to 3 miles per hour. And then since we are the history of the machine or the carousels, we got permission to run our machine at its original speed, so we go 9 miles an hour So I have been here for 10 years, and it is the pure joy of the public that keeps bringing me back. This is a fantastic place to be in all day long. It's joy and laughter. So, I mean, really, who can go wrong with happy people all day long?
Coming up next.
We are the Downtown Sandusky Cedar Point Historical Museum. Well, welcome. We are so happy to have you here today. We are the Downtown Sandusky Cedar Point Historical Museum. Our goal is to be the repository of all things related to Cedar Point. And so we have thousands and thousands of items that are all related to Cedar Point and its history. 50 years ago, I started collecting Cedar Point postcards, and then it became Cedar Point pennants, and then And then, as fate would have it, Cedar Point announced that they were closing their town hall museum that was located in Frontier Town. And so I thought to myself, I should take what I have and open a Cedar Point museum. Dropping off Cedar Point items. One of the questions I get a lot is what are the highlights of the museum? And that is probably the single toughest question for me to answer. As I said, we have almost 30 different display cases now, and I have 4 or 5 or 6 highlights in every single display case. We've also recently added all of the park maps from Cedar Point. So they have those big park maps starting in 1969 through this year, and we have those on display now. In the olden days, when people came to Cedar Point, they didn't all wear if a company had a picnic at Cedar Point, they didn't all wear the same t-shirt like they do today. They all got a ribbon from that company. And we have a great number of these from the 1930s. And when I was growing up in my dining room, there was a picture of my mother and my uncle, and my mother had to be 7, 8 years old, sitting on a carousel horse at Cedar Point. And now I am very proud of the fact that that's part of our display here. For years, when Cedar Point opened a new coaster, they gave out a medallion to the first riders. And those medallions are very unique and became real collector's items. And we have the medallions for every single coaster up until Siren's Curse. But 8 years ago now, they opened a coaster in Valraven. And the first 1,000 people that rode Valraven not only got the first rider memorabilia, but they got a cookie. And 999 people ate their cookie. I did not. So as part of our display, I still have that 8-year-old Valraven cookie, which so far there's not one person out there that said, I have that cookie. Cedar Point continues to cooperate with us. Last year, at the end of the season, 2024, they closed a very popular water ride called Snake River Falls. And so we were looking for a photo op that we could have here in the museum where somebody could have their picture taken with a Cedar Point memory. And Cedar Point designed a big backdrop for us. They delivered to us a boat that was formerly part of the Snake River Falls ride. They cut off the front of it, and now we have it standing there, and our visitors can stand behind that boat, put their arms up in the air, and look like they're splashing down on that fun Snake River Falls ride that was formerly at Cedar Point. And Cedar Point's been such a part of me. It's in my heart. It's not just a place, it's an emotion. And so my favorite thing about this museum is just the joy. And you can see by today, we have volunteers. And if you're a Cedar Point lover, you're welcome to volunteer to be here and share in this experience. But we have volunteers that show up not because they have to, but because they want to, because they love sharing the stories, love hearing about the memorable events in people's lives that happen when they come in. And so it is a true love story, not just for the people and their families, but for the people and Cedar Point.
After the break,
You should come to Firefly Nights because it's a fun community event. There's food, fun, entertainment.
We're here at the Black Swamp Arts Festival in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Access granted. Access granted. Access granted.
Tonight you're here at Firefly Nights, downtown Bowling Green.
Firefly Night 101. It is a free event downtown Bowling Green. We are on Main Street. We take up 3 blocks in downtown Bowling Green. It's closed off, foot traffic. Everything's down here. We've got food trucks, we've got vendors, we've got kids activities. I think it really does bring a community together. You have people downtown that maybe aren't usually coming downtown. Our businesses stay open late. Our restaurants are booming, and then you also get vendors and music. It's just a really good vibe. So we allow any vendor that is a maker to come in, and so they have to provide something that you can leave with. So we have just a little bit of everything. We have craft vendors, we have earrings, we have magnets, we have 3D printed items, and then we also have like some food items. There's honey, there's a lot of different items.
It's a gourmet cotton candy business. I have 14 different flavors here with me tonight, 20 on average, just serving up mouth-watering deliciousness.
I have a booth set up down here that's tropical houseplants and terrariums, and we're based out of Toledo. I grow these or get them from an Ohio supplier, along with friends who grow some. It's kind of a community effort, so. Oh, it's great. I get to hear about people's grandma's plants that they've had for 100 years. I get to sell them their first plant. It's a fun full circle moment.
We align with most of what BG is doing. We are different than most community festivals in our area, though. So if you go to any of the other surrounding towns, you usually would have to pay to either come into the event or to participate in maybe the bounce houses or the music, getting your face painted, and all of those things are free. So
it's a nice focus, right? Like a family focus that we get to come down, see the people of the town, and interact with people we might not have seen, interact with vendors we might not know about, and the kids get to have a good time. It's nice and friendly.
It's nice to see everybody out enjoying it, themselves, socializing. You know, it's nice that they put something like this on.
one of my favorite things about it is it's good for all ages too. For our young ones, some of the highlights are our bounce houses, inflatables, and our bubbles and chalk and face painting.
I'm Andrew Martin, world famous magician, entertainer extraordinaire. I came from the big town of Toledo, Ohio to entertain everybody here at BG's Big Firefly. Oh, well, I have them pick cards and look at the rings, and I link and unlink the rings and pull cards out of my wallet with their name on it, and they're just absolutely spellbound.
We are some stilt walkers with Bluffton Entertainment. We are here in Bowling Green for Firefly Nights, and we're stilt walking.
It's so fun. It's kids, like, they look like they're just like so confused and their faces light up, and it just makes the whole night.
You should come to Firefly Nights because it's a fun community event. There's food, fun, entertainment, and you don't have to pay anything to come in. The people say that it is a fun event. They enjoy being able to come down and being with their neighbors, and they can just sit down and really enjoy BG. The bubbles are my favorite thing because they just really make the vibe.
Thank you! Bye!
Access granted.
We're here at the Black Swamp Arts Festival in Bowling Green, Ohio.
All the way lining Main Street from the library on South Main all the way down to the post office. Art, 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 art. Tons of it. Art, music, food. It's a free festival. There are musical artists here. We have 3 stages playing music all day. There are crafts for the kids, all sorts. It's all free. It really truly is a combination of everyone in the area. We have volunteers. Students from the university come and volunteer.
I love the community that it fosters and so many different people that you can meet, especially for being an art education major. I'm helping out with the youth's art tent, doing some printmaking, and I'm also working at the student organization Print Society booth. We make lots of student art and we sell it all there.
I really enjoy the kettle corn. You can smell it a mile away. It's amazing, it's delicious. And I have to say, the traditional bucket hats, you can create one yourself. I always have to make one every year. Ever since my daughter was little, every year we've made one, and she's 18 now, so it's gonna live on forever. No one's too old to make a bucket hat. Year after year, we hear from people that have come to the festival, artists that come. They want to come back because of just the people here are just so friendly and kind. And it's just truly a combination of community and music and art and just bringing people together to share something everyone loves.
Still to come.
We're here at the Schumacher Homestead, located in between Bluffton and Pandora. It's a living, walking history museum that you can go anywhere, see a snapshot in time of what it was like back in the 1850s. We're here at the Schumacher Homestead, located in between Bluffton and Pandora. It's right around probably 6 or 7 acres. Peter and Elizabeth Schumacher built this homestead. The building that we're in currently is the house that was put up in 1843. It would be kind of the east side of the property. The next building to the west would be the Heritage Center that's not yet completed, but will be here before the end of the year. And then the last building to the far west would be the original barn that got put up in 1854. And then the summer kitchen actually was restored back in 2004. It's not the original structure, unfortunately. We had to replace the whole thing, but it is a mock-up of the exact same thing that was there at the time. This would have been normally where they would have cooked in the winter time and not summer when it wasn't really warm out. Probably wouldn't have ate a whole bunch of meals, a lot of prep work involved in here. Van's gonna be over there cooking something similar to what they would have had in the time frame back in the 1800s on a daily basis.
This here was considered the summer kitchen, and it would have been used primarily in the summer to cook. That way you didn't have the heat in the main house. On this building, this flue and chimney are on the outside of the building, so the heat is outward. Like if we use this in the wintertime, we generally have a little bit trouble to get the fire to draw properly because you have to get this masonry hot to draw the flames up. Where in that building, that flue and the brickwork is on the inside. So once that gets hot, it's also going to help to heat the living quarters in there. So this is considered hearth cooking. So one of the main things is they use cast iron pots. They would have them up on a tripod, and to control heat, you would just have a fire built and shovel up the hot coals and build your coals underneath. You can control your heat a lot better. Today I made a German one-pot stew. They call it Eintopf, which means one pot. All the vegetables that I prepared in it are from my garden that I picked yesterday. Pretty much whatever they'd have coming off their garden would have been period for that time. So everything is just slowly cooked over a fire, and this would have been one of their primary meals that they would have had on a fire about constantly to feed a large family of 16 that would have lived here.
The family that lived here, they had 16 children, and of those 16, each one of those children had 10 kids. With having 16 kids, obviously the bloodline kind of runs through a lot of different people. I know a handful of people on the board, including myself, have some of that blood. May not be the same last name, but there's still a connection to this homestead. As time progressed, the Swiss Historical Society bought the property and started redoing the buildings back to the way that they were when they were built originally. The thought process behind that was probably 10 or 12 years ago. We needed some more room to display more things, and we didn't quite know what we wanted to do, so there was a building not too far away from here that they were going to tear down anyways. It was an old barn. The Swiss Historical Society bought the barn, had it brought over here, put back up, assembled, and then that'll be another museum for people to walk through as well. As much as the family draws an important factor into this, obviously, to me the big draw is the fact that you can walk around the grounds and there's very few places that you get told you can't go into. It's a living, walking history museum that you can go anywhere, see a snapshot in time of what it was like back in the 1850s.